Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Back Row Buzz Bar podcast. I'm your host, Vinny, and with me I have my other host.
I'm sorry, I'm demoted, I guess.
Yes. My special guest today, Brendan.
Brendan, hi. Special guest.
And
me.
Today we're going to be talking about like how we became enthusiasts, and also just like kind of just
our journey.
Our I don't like to say it like that.
Our journey.
Our journey. Just sort of like
our experiences.
Yeah, our experiences. Like kind of like where we're coming from here.
Our lives. I feel like mine's probably going to be pathetic compared to yours. Yeah, let me
go. I've been hyping mine up pretty bad. It's not that good. But we'll see. We'll have to see.
It's going to be a time.
Yeah, we're basically going to start, I guess, with our first like what really got us into roller coaster enthusiasm. Yes, and sort of like talk about like our trips and stuff.
Yeah, like everything we've done.
Yeah. So it'll be good. So do you want to start?
Yeah, I can start.
You can start.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I guess it was like 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. I was 9.
Okay.
I think 9 or 10. And my family went to, I don't know why. I think my dad and my mom had like good experiences and just wanted to finally start to introduce my sister and I to roller coasters. So we all went to Hershey Park. And I remember I was a Twizzler, so I could get on everything. Okay. I was like around tall. Yeah. Maybe I was 10. I was probably like 10 or 11 maybe. Because I know I was like, I just made Twizzler, but I was like in like the 4.5 feet or whatever that the Twizzler is. Like,
okay. Like between like 4 and 5 feet.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
And I didn't really know anything going into this trip because I was kind of just like, I've never seen a roller coaster before. But then I got there and I was like, I love roller coasters. Like, I just looking at them, like, I loved it. So then, well, actually, I think before the trip a little bit, I started to like look at the coasters, just be like, well, what am I about to get myself into? So I remember getting there and my parents took us on the Trailblazer, and my parents hadn't even been to an amusement park in a long time either, because like we were kids, and everybody in my family rode it, and I liked it, but I was scared when my little 10-year-old self was like terrified.
On Trailblazer?
Yeah, okay. On the mine train, basically, and my sister was like terrified, and my mom got off and she hurt her neck somehow. I don't know how, and my dad was like, okay, so we only rode that, and like it was like the first roller coaster I ever rode. And it's really shocking because I remember every time we would go to like fairs or whatever, my sister loved like the wacky worms or whatever they have, and I hated them. So like it's really weird. I don't know why as a kid I hated the wacky worms and those mini coasters, but I rode Trailblazer and I was scared. So then eventually I looked at like what rides would be like good or not to like rank up to, and I knew that like Comet and like Wildcat weren't like that huge compared to like Fahrenheit and Storm Runner and all that. So I rode Comet and I loved it, and I think I rode it a few times. I rode it like 2 or 3 times, and then I think we also went to the water park because like me and my sister were afraid of the water park. So then when we were at the water park, I remember, well, me and my dad flipped over on one of the slides. Okay. So I was like, yeah, so that ended our day at the water park. And then I remember seeing the Wild Mouse, which maybe that's where my love of Wild Mouse come from, because I love Wild Mouse roller coasters. With that one. I don't know why. They're just great. I love them. So then we rode the Wild Mouse, and my dad got a headache, but I loved it.
Okay.
And that was my entire day.
That's your first day.
It was the water park, and then Trailblazer, Comet, and then Wild Mouse.
And somehow both your parents got hurt.
Yes. My mom's neck hurt, and my dad had a headache. And my sister ended up getting on Comet, but she didn't get on Wild Mouse. We didn't get on Wildcat. She got on Wild Mouse. I only got on the 3 roller coasters at Hershey Park. So that was a day. I felt fairly accomplished. It was the first time I had ever seen a roller coaster. I was like, okay. So after just seeing the roller coasters, I was like enthralled. Okay. I was like, I love roller coasters. They look amazing. Not even just riding them. I literally just like to look at them. Like I remember I went home and I like watched like a ranking video on the Hershey Park roller coasters, like everything, and I just loved it. So
what year was this about? For like some
like 2010.
Okay.
It was 2010.
2010?
No, so this was definitely 2010, okay? Because then, or this 2009, I think it was 2009, because the next year we planned a trip to Busch Gardens.
Okay.
And because I was like, I want to go to New Park, and my mom loves history, so they were like, let's go to Colonial Williamsburg, and we can go to the park, Busch Gardens. So I set high aspirations for myself going to Busch Gardens. I was looking at all of their roller coasters. I was like, I'm gonna ride Alpengeist, I'm gonna ride Apollo's Chariot, I'm gonna ride everything. It's gonna be great. So we planned the trip, everything, and I was actually disappointed because for some reason, I don't know how, I didn't realize that Big Bad Wolf had just been taken out in 2009, and I was looking forward to riding it, and I did not get that credit, sadly. Tragic. My dad, because that was also my dad's like favorite roller coaster, and he was like, it's closed, and I was like we went, and like there's nothing there, like the station.
I miss Big Bad Wolf. Like your dad and I are gonna have to do an episode of just fangirling over Big Bad Wolf.
Yeah, like the station was just like a gift shop, and my dad was like, it was right there, and I was like, well, it's not there anymore. So that was tragic. So clearly, 10-year-old Brendan set his aspirations very high. So I was scared to get on literally everything. And my parents like literally were getting pissed because they were like, we did this trip to Busch Gardens for you to get on roller coasters, and now you don't want to get on anything. Because like once I got up to like Alpengeist and Griffin, I was like, yikes.
They're intimidating.
Yeah. Especially like, oh god, Alpengeist is just like
that's a massive roller coaster. Yeah. Alpengeist is huge.
Like, because I vividly remember like walking across that bridge and like just seeing the giant Immelman, and I was like, I'm scared.
It's big.
So to try to remedy this, we went to the Sesame Place and rode the Grover Alpine coaster. And my parents have a picture of me and my sister riding this because my sister was scared too. And there's a picture of us like totally pissed off, like not enjoying ourselves, just on this kiddie coaster, because like we had ridden like Comets, like we'd ridden like kind of like mid-range coasters.
Yeah, Busch Gardens doesn't have like
they do now. They have Invader, I guess,
but they don't have like flat rides. That many flat rides either.
Yeah, this was also like 2010, so like it was like before they even got a little bit more.
Like for Bolton wasn't even built yet.
Yeah,
but that's kind of like a family coaster, I guess.
Yeah. So finally, after having the rage of getting on that coaster, I was like, we're at least getting on. I'm getting on Loch Ness Monster. So I got on Loch Ness Monster.
That's a good one.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
But
is that your first looping roller coaster?
Yes. Okay. So Loch Ness Monster was my first looping roller coaster, and I didn't get on anything else that entire day, except for Loch Ness Monster like a ton of times. From there, I honestly just like it took off because after that, I'm pretty sure that was like 5th grade for me, and then in middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, each year the band would go to Hershey Park for a competition, and I was in like the band that, because it was like the honors band or whatever, and I was in it every year because I'm special. I'm a nerd.
You're such an honored.
I know.
An honored student.
So, I guess Hershey Park is definitely the park I've been to the most. So I don't really think we ever went to new parks in middle school except for. Oh no! Wait, I did. Like 8th grade year. I went to. Okay, I can. Yeah, but in 6th and 7th grade, I basically just got on everything at Hershey. Like, I remember when I went with the school the first time, the lines were always really long. So we got on, like, Wildcat, Lightning Racer, like, Great Bear, Super Duper Looper, like, all those. But I never got on Storm Runner, Fahrenheit, and then, or Sky Rush, when Sky Rush was new. And then I remember we went again with my family one of the summers, and I'd been on like most of the rides there, and I was like, you know what, we're just gonna go. So me and my dad went directly to Sky Rush, and that was like, I think like in 2012 it was Sky Rush's like first year. We got in early because we stayed at the hotel, and like that was probably the defining moment of where I now like have like no fear whatsoever, because I rode Sky Rush, and like I was still like 12.
Yeah,
so
Sky Rush is intense too. Yeah, it's a surprisingly intense coaster.
Yeah, and I was like small, so like you're already exposed in the seats, and I was like now a child. My dad was like terrified. Like he got off, and he was like, my mom was like, that's the most fear I've seen in his face for a while, and I was like loving it. So that day, I got on everything, and like I was like literally fine. And so then from then on, I'd been on everything at Hershey, and I think that was like my 7th grade year, like that summer. And then 8th grade, like I got on everything and I was like, this is great. Like everybody just get on everything. It's fun. And I feel like I still had like a little bit of like anticipation getting on the coasters because like they were like a lot bigger than me, but I like wasn't afraid. Like I had been on literally everything. Yeah. I love all the rides at Hershey. I think they're all fun. But then 8th grade year, I also went to King's Dominion for the first time and Six Flags America. So
that's a good year.
Yeah,
that's a year.
So Six Flags America was a time, you know.
Yeah,
it's a park that exists.
If you've been there, you know the vibes.
But that was my first experience with a flying coaster.
Okay.
And I loved that. That was fun. You know, I don't know. I just love the Flying Dutchman models.
Was Joker's Jinx your first launch or a Stormrunner?
Stormrunner. Yeah, I'd been on Stormrunner, and I like Joker's Jinx.
Yeah.
And I actually went to King's Dominion before it, so I had been on Flight of Fear, and I knew that Flight of Fear and Joker's Jinx were like, because I like all this time I've also like just researched and look up all the roller coasters like a nerd, you know, how we all do.
Yeah.
And when I went to King's Dominion, my unpopular opinions. Well, I mean they're not unpopular. Volcano was my favorite roller coaster there, and I thought Intimidator was overrated. I thought it was kind of boring. So I don't know. It's intense. I just didn't like. I growing up and like having it been out for like 4 years, everybody was like, it's the best coaster ever, it's amazing, and I was like, okay. And like I don't know, it just didn't really live up to the hype for me, and I really thought that the Volcano was the best. I loved Volcano.
I don't really like passing out on roller coasters.
Yeah.
That's not really a feeling I enjoy.
So and King's Dominion, and like I didn't have any problems at that point, like getting on. I literally got on everything. I was like, it's fun. And I remember like us marathoning Flight of Fear, and we always would try to go to Volcano first because like it always would get a long line, and then we also found that like if you just watch it throughout the day, like I would always like glance over it because you could almost see the top of the volcano from like anywhere in the park.
It was like
so we would always like
centerpiece.
I would always be watching it, and like you could see like if it hadn't run for a while that it would probably break down, and then once it started to run again, I would be like, let's go, because no one's gonna be in line because it just was broken or whatever, like it was down. So then I basically just stuck to like those parks for a while until I probably like my junior year. Like I had only gone to like either King's Dominion or Hershey for a while. And then I think my senior year I went to Cedar Point for like a graduation gift from my parents. And that was with my friend Liam. And going up through like middle school and high school, I always went to parks with him. And that was I graduated in 2018. So that was Steel Vengeance opening year. And we only had like 2 days. We had 2 days in the park, and we bought a flash pass. And I remember we marathoned Steel Vengeance and Maverick because they were going to have the longest lines.
Right next to each other.
Yeah. And like there weren't really lines on anything else except for those two. And even I remember even the day, like we only got a flash pass for our first day, and then the second day we still waited in line for both of them because they're worth it. But I rode everything there, and Cedar Point was great. And I went to the Six Flags in New Jersey.
Great Adventure.
Yeah, Great Adventure. I think this maybe the year before that. It kind of just it's cloudy because like I just go, to random parks.
Let's go.
I went there sophomore year because one of my sister's ex-boyfriends was also like a coaster enthusiast, and he was like, I'm going, and he knew I was, so they invited me, and that was fun. I rode everything there. El Toro is literally like one of my favorite roller coasters ever. It's like, if you know, you know. Like it's like everybody knows it's
like you're pretty, out of your seat for like
the
that
majority
whole ride.
Of it. Yeah. So I feel like in high school I started to branch out to Great Adventure and then Cedar Point, and then now my dad and I are trying to go. Well, last year we started it, and this year it was sadly impeded by the corona. But last year my dad and I we did like a Pennsylvania little mini trip. We went to Dorney, Knoebels, and Kennywood because I hadn't been to either of them, and I was like, I want to hit some new parks. And those are the ones I remember the most vividly because they just happened. Dorney was great, and it was because it rained because there was literally nobody in the entire park. I got a Zen ride on Possessed and almost a Zen ride on Steel Force. Like literally nobody was there. and we rode like everything as many times as we wanted. And then Talon didn't open till like 5, and we almost left. And then I was like, wait, it's running. Let me ride it. And then I rode it. It was great. Love that. And then Knoebels was great. Phoenix, it was great. I liked it. Twister was okay. Impulse was, but I do like that park because you don't have to pay to get in. It is just like a park.
Oh yeah,
it's just like a park. Like you can
just like drive up.
Yeah, so around. It is good. Like I feel like if my family, that would be a good park for my family to go to because I could just ride all the rides and my mom like wouldn't have to pay because my mom really doesn't ride anything after she hurt her neck on Trailblazer. So, but I feel like from this point on, like I pretty much have no fear. Like, and I feel like once I went to Great Adventure and Cedar Point, all of the anticipating and anxiety like goes away, which I kind of miss to a set like degree. Like I kind of miss like getting like a little anxious where I'd literally just like sit in the seat and I'm kind of just like, well, let's go.
No, I'll get into that. I don't miss that feeling at all.
Like, I miss it like a little bit. I feel like I only get it now from like sketchy flat rides where I'm like, this doesn't seem safe, so maybe I should be a little scared. But from like roller coasters, like no, I literally just don't have anything. And then Kennywood, I want to go back to Kennywood because I went like a week before Steel Curtain opened. I didn't get on, and Skyrocket was still down because they still had to order the part. It opened later that year again with Steel Curtain, and I didn't get on Exterminator. But me and my dad, like, we I can't even think of the thing. We got on Steel Phantom like a ton of times. Okay. Or Phantom's Revenge. Not Steel Phantom. Phantom's Revenge. And that, I think I went to Hershey Park. Yeah, I went to Hershey Park in the fall, which I will say, Laugh Track in the fall has all the lights off, and it is like 10 times better.
Yeah, I need to get on. I need to experience that.
It is. I will say, I didn't know that the lights were gonna be off, and we like turned the corner, and I was like, everything's dark.
Nothing.
I was like, it's just darkness.
Is it broken down?
Yeah. So I always like Laugh Track. It just has a long fucking line. And
really? Every time I ride Laugh Track, it's like with my friend, it's always just like, how many times can we ride it before the carnival music makes us lose our shit? And I just don't like how they like break the shit out of it. But
yeah, but every time I go, it always has like a 30.
It does, yeah.
And so like
it would be like half that people would stop taking pictures at all the mirrors. Like if you get behind a group of like high school girls, you're fine. You're gonna be in line for a while, like an extra 10 minutes. Yeah,
but I will say it's definitely worth the wait in the dark. Like it's fun.
Yeah, I need to experience.
But other than that, those are like the only new parks I've been to. I haven't been to that many, but me and my dad did have a trip planned this summer, but it is not happening. We were gonna go to Kentucky Kingdom and Holiday World and then Kings Island to ride like Orion and Storm Chaser and Lightning Run and all the rides. The Voyage, all those rides. But that's pretty much like my coaster upbringing. Yeah. It started out kind of sad when like I literally went to Busch Gardens and I was like, I had all of the now going like, because I did go back to Busch Gardens too. I've been back and I've ridden all the rides. I went when Verbolten opened and I rode everything, and I just haven't been since Invader opened, so I haven't ridden Invader
either.
But I'm just like, I literally was like Apollo's Chariot, like even though it's like one of the first types, it's still fun. Alpengeist is like, I love inverted coasters. I love Griffin. Like Verbolten's fun. So like I'm like, I did get on Curse of Dark Castle too before that.
I was really sad. I just needed to update it, but like that ride was actually that was good.
Yeah,
like, that was a good.
I do miss Curse of Dark Castle. And
what is it now? Is it just like a haunted?
I think it's just
a haunted house, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just storage or like depressing. Space for extra.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it for me.
Do you have any like memorable times you were on a roller coaster, like getting broken down when you were on it, or? One thing that didn't break down. I remember one of the like my first trips to Hershey when I started the first time I got on Great Bear. I remember my aunt went with us, and my aunt liked roller coasters, and she wanted me to get on Storm Runner, and I was like 12, and I was too scared. I do remember that, but then the next year I got on it. Actually, I think it was the same year, just like later on in the season when I went with my friend. But yeah, so I remember that. I remember like telling her like I'm scared. Lightning Racer, that stopped on the chain lift. Okay.
That's happened I think twice to me actually. And like they just sent us.
I don't think so, honestly.
You haven't been on any... Oh, gosh.
I don't think
Really?
I think I've only ever gotten, like, stopped on a chain lift, like, once, or, like, on...
Okay, that's interesting.
On Lightning Racer.
Lightning Racer?
I do remember that also when we went with our school trip, I forced one of my friends that didn't like roller coasters to get on the Wild Mouse with me because, love Wild Mouse. But he was scared and he didn't get in the car.
Hardly a coaster.
I know.
Oh, and actually, yeah, it just keeps going.
Yeah, but he didn't get in the car fast enough, so the bar, like, barely came down. And the ride-up was like, you're fine. And, like, just sent us. And, like, we didn't fly. Like, it was, like, down far enough, but, like, it was, like, it had a good, like, half a foot in between us and our legs. Like, the ride-up kind of...
You get bucked out of some of those, like, hills, too.
She kind of stared at us, and then she was like, you'll be... So I mean, like,
Hershey.
Go ahead, Hershey.
I've had nothing like that at Hershey.
Yeah, love that for us. But that was kind of it. I don't think I've never been. Knock on wood. I don't.
I think
really...
those they can be funny if it's like, I don't know, not funny when you're on it when it breaks down, but it's like it's definitely memorable.
I've been at I've watched. I've watched Superman break down at Six Flags America multiple times. Whoa. So that's
a daily occurrence at this point.
And I mean, I've watched I don't know if any of you have been to Six Flags America, but they use a pen to jab your restraints open on bat wings. So I've almost gotten pelted in the chest with a pen. It's a time.
Six Flags America is a ride.
Fuck, I forgot. I'm sorry. I've been to Carowinds. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I completely forgot. Okay, I went to Carowinds in 2017, I think. Mm-hmm. Like, Fury had already been open.
Yeah.
I completely forgot. That was... Yeah, so we went with two of my parents' friends, and he thought that he could outride me, and he did not. Yeah. Sadly did not. I remember that this was actually a memorable. We didn't get stuck, sorry. But the first thing we went to, I was like, I have to get on Fury. I don't know if it's going to get a long line. So we beelined it to Fury as soon as the park opened. It was me, my dad, my dad's friend, and my sister. And we all four got front row. And it was like my first ride on Fury. And it was literally amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, Fury is fantastic. A ride that I feel like people talk about but like don't talk about enough is Afterburn at Carowinds. Honestly, my favorite being an invert. It is just like so compact and intense. I love it. And Intimidator isn't as bad as people say. They always say, like, the trims hit, but, like, it wasn't that bad. I have not ridden Copperhead Strike. Yeah. Because I went before that. Maybe I went in 2016, because I don't think I went, like, right before Copperhead Strike opened. But I got on everything there, too. That was fun. I did enjoy it. But nope, didn't get stuck anywhere on that ride. But, yeah, Carowinds was fun. That's good. I like Carowinds. So I forgot I had been to Carowinds. It just totally slipped my mind. I feel like, because, like, I don't know. I guess because, like, I didn't have a big anticipation. Like, I was, like, scared. I was kind of just, like, I want to go badly. And it morphed into the beach. Because my family goes to the beach in North Carolina. So
same.
Yeah, so we went early. And we...
Just, like, hit up Carowinds.
Yeah, we went early with our friends. And we went to Carowinds. We stayed there for 2 nights. But we went to, like, the park only one day. And then we drove across to the beach of North Carolina. Which it was kind of, like, it was still, like, a 4-hour drive from them. Because, like, it's literally on the inner part of them.
Okay.
But it was cool. I did like how, like, their park is split, like, into, like, north and south. Like, it's cool. That
sounds pretty cool. I have yet to go to Carowinds because...
We gotta go. We'll go one day. We'll go one day. Yeah, it's definitely worth it. It's fun.
Have you been to, like, Disney or Universal or anything?
Nope, I've never been.
Haven't been? Oh, my God.
I guess we can do a whole bucket list park thing later, but, like, I have a lot of parks where, like, I haven't been.
We need to get you... Disney's expensive.
I don't really want to go to Disney. I want to go to Universal.
I
definitely want to go to
Universal. Is good if like for our age, like older. It's like older.
Yeah.
Like bigger rides.
Like I would just want to go to Disney.
Still has some good ones, like Rock and Roller Coaster and like Expedition Everest.
But I would just want to go to Disney to like get the credits, and then I wouldn't really want to.
No, we'll do we have to go when you're 21 because then we can do the drinks around the world.
Oh, okay, bet. Okay,
and
we'll
you can
do
just get smashed.
Okay.
That's what I've done that before. Okay.
But that's it. That's it for me. I'm sorry.
That's like humble beginnings.
Yeah,
yours is a lot better.
I feel like I graduated in 2018. Like I'm trying to figure out my life, and I feel like meeting Vinny as friends. Like I feel like we're finally like I now have somebody that will go on road trips with me to do roller coasters. Totally. So like I'm literally like Vinny, you're coming with or without me.
Just drag me along. Like I'll
Like I don't care. Like we can go into that, like,
Yeah,
I guess another time.
day.
But I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm.
That's my beginnings.
That's your beginnings. That was cute.
Yeah. So the only embarrassing is the literally Grover Alpine coaster that I shamefully rode.
Yeah.
I remember I also got on Escape from Pompeii, and like that has a decent
that's a
drop.
Yeah,
that drop is pretty intimidating. I don't know, but I rode Loch Ness, and Loch Ness was great.
Loch Ness was good. Yeah. So that was your first looping coaster. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have like about the same start, but I should just put like a disclaimer before mine.
Oh, good lord.
If I don't even know, mine's just gonna be like TMI.
Okay.
The story. So
I've never had a TMI. I'm also trying. I really haven't gotten stuck on like as many rides as I've.
Because you haven't been to Disney. That's why.
I watched
literally. Well, you asked me that question at the end of my story, and I have like.
I will say, like, their ops set look insane, and like I watched like the video on like the operations of Big Thunder Mountain. I was like, that looks like it could break down at any fucking moment. I'm like, that thing literally looks like a train wreck.
I have a story about getting stuck on a ride at Disney.
Anyway, okay.
So yeah, if you like, I guess are afraid of like just like hearing about like body functions, you probably don't listen to my story. So mine started out. I don't remember my first coaster. I'd like ask my parents. Because they've told me this story a whole bunch of times. But my first coaster, I was like 3. Yeah, I was 3. My dad, we were at Hershey Park. Because my mom gets tickets through her work to go to Hershey. So it would always be like a family thing. Like my whole like extended family would go. And my dad said I wasn't, like I definitely wasn't tall enough. Because I was like a little kid. Like I was like a little fat kid. So, my dad said I was definitely not tall enough, but before, like, the ride op could check, he, like, already sat me down and, like, pushed the bar down on Comet at Hershey, right?
Wait, Comet?
Comet at Hershey.
I
was 3. I skipped Trailblazer. Yeah, He has a picture. He showed me a picture of it. Like, I'm just there, like, my arms, like, barely touch the buzz. Yeah.
Because Comet's, like, Reese's. I know that, because I've memorized their map, because I'm a nerd.
I don't know if it was, I don't remember. Was it? I don't think, I definitely wasn't tall enough. It was just like, yeah. So we get on Comet. I was forced by my dad on Comet. And apparently I screamed the whole time. Like, cried the whole time. And my mom and my dad were both like, oh no, like, we've, like, completely ruined. Like, I hated it. And I also shit myself. This is going to be a recurring theme. This is going to be a recurring theme throughout my story.
Vinny, you did not shit yourself.
I shit myself on Comet when I was 3. And then for the rest of that trip, I was obviously done with coasters. We, like, rode the kiddie rides, but I was, like, enthralled. I would just, like, you could just, like, sit me down in front of coasters and just, like, I would just watch them go for, like, hours.
I love watching
those. And then we would go back. That was mainly the first the first park that I would go to. Every year that I went to Hershey, growing up, I would get to, like, ride a new ride. So, like, I started out with Comet, and then I rode Super Duper Looper was my first one, which I shit myself on. And then the next year, I rode, like, Lightning Racer and Wildcat, which I also shit myself on. Like, every year, there was, like, 4 or 5 years in a row where they would just, like, have to clean shit out of my underwear at Hershey. Because I would, like, get, like, the night before we go to parks, I would get, like, so excited that I would, like, almost puke. Yeah. I was a weird kid. Like, I would get so excited, I, like, would barely sleep. I would get, like, I don't know if it was just, like, excitement or just, like, such bad anxiety that I would just, like, lay in bed and just, like, feel like I'm gonna throw up. And, like, I still really can't, like, the days I'm going to parks, I still, like, can't eat a ton before I, like, leave my house, just because I'm, like, so, I don't know, anxious, yeah. And that's when so, like, when I'm anxious, I get, like, diarrhea, basically. So, I don't miss that anxiety you talked about, like, I don't miss that, because I don't like shitting myself at amusement parks. But I luckily grew out of that when I was like 6 or 7. So I grew out of that when I was like 6 or 7. But when I was little, we took like a whole bunch of family trips. Like I think when we visited
would they like prepare and like bring back up?
Yeah. They were just
after
like Vinny's gonna shit himself. Like just bring back up. Yeah, that's not my proudest moment. But we would like go to like, we visited my grandparents in Florida a few times in the winter. We went to, like, Busch Gardens once when I was little.
So jealous. I want to go there.
But I was too young to ride anything.
Yeah.
But then we'd go back. We went back again in the when I was a little bit older. But I was, like, too young to ride anything. And that kind of... I remember going to Kennywood with my whole extended family once, but that was too, like, young. I think I rode Jackrabbit. I'm pretty sure I rode Jackrabbit.
That
my cousin
is...
almost. I think my cousin like. They swear that like my cousin almost flew out of it.
That double down is pretty intense.
I just remember being like my GP cousins were like, it skips the track.
Oh.
And I once shit myself because I was so scared that I was gonna fall off the coaster. Like that's just my body's go-to when I'm anxious is just to die, have the runs. I don't know. That's the last time I'll bring that up though. I promise. But yeah, like we went just like family trips to like Cedar Point. Where I was too young to ride anything, except like I think I rode like Gemini, but by then I was over that whole fear of stuff. But then it begins like this whole segment of I like revisit them when I'm older. But yeah, around 2009, 2010 was a pretty big year, I guess for both of us because I like.
Well, that was my first.
That was your first roller coaster. I 2009, 2010. I was like 12 or 13. So this is bad. I came across like I would just watch like YouTube videos of, like roller coaster.
I always did.
Yeah, roller coaster like footage like, and then I would like browse the theme park review forums before we found out they were like not great people. But like I would just browse the forums, just like stay up to current events. I was just like really amused by them, and I started like looking at like other models overseas, and I just became like obsessed with Eurofighters, because we didn't have any nearby.
We don't
really
have
we don't have one
anymore,
in the east,
like
not really on the East Coast. And it was just like it looked. I don't know if it looked dumb or just like it was just like so compact and like I don't know, just something about it really engrossed me. And then I like started looking at like No Limits and stuff. Like downloaded like the free thing, and I would just ride like they had like a Kumba pre-built, and I just literally would just spend hours riding that on No Limits. Yeah, it was weird. And then there was like another website that I found. I think it's still up. It's called Coaster Gallery. It's some like very 2000s coded in like HTML. It was just some dude that took pictures of roller coasters and like added captions to it and just like put them up on his site. And I would just click on like go down the park lifts and just like read about all the coasters and stuff. And I like 11, 12-year-old me, 13-year-old me thought that was the shit. And then like we can backtrack a few years. I think we were eating like a box of Wheaties or something. My dad and I were eating Wheaties, and we found like a Roller Coaster Tycoon disc inside. Like Roller Coaster Tycoon like came in cereal boxes.
Like that was the prize.
Yeah, that was the prize. It was Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I remember my dad and I like set that up, and I would just play the shit out of it. My grandparents had Roller Coaster Tycoon too, and they lived like just down the street from me. So I would just go over their house in the summer because they were basically my babysitters, and I would just play the shit out of Roller Coaster Tycoon too. Just like hours. I would remember I would even like play the scenarios. I would just go into like this build like Six Flags Magic Mountain and just like watch it.
Okay.
Just like watch it and like go to all like the Six Flags parks and I would just like put my thing over like Goliath and just watch it. I was weird, but
I mean, I never got into Roller Coaster Tycoon. Like I never.
Yeah, they had like they had like a whole section for like real parks, and they had like Six Flags. It was like Six Flags Belgium, Six Flags Great Adventure, Six Flags Over Texas, Magic Mountain, Holland, and I think that was it. But I would just go to the Six Flags Magic Mountain was the biggest and had the most roller coasters.
Yeah. And
I would just watch like X go. It was like it's so old that like they had like flashback in the scenario.
Oh.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. But that was and then I would just go into like the build your own Six Flags Magic Mountain. I like you could like edit scenarios, and I edited it to just give me like unlimited money, and I would just like build my own Six Flags Magic Mountain. But yeah, then I got into Roller Coaster Tycoon 3.
You were in all the
games. Literally Roller Coaster Tycoon is like my childhood. And I that's when I got like really, that was when I first got into like computer games and like video games in general.
Okay.
And I would just go into the coaster designer and just like build stuff. And I was just like, I want to share this with people. And so I stumbled upon this website called RCT Go.
Uh-huh.
And I would just like upload my roller coasters to this website. And I actually went back and like tried searching for my old, it's still there from like 2009 Vinny uploading his coasters to RCT Go. Like they're still available for download apparently, but like one of the roller coasters I made was like it was like a launched bobsled coaster. Yeah, it was. I marketed this shit right as it was like the world's first launched bobsled coaster, and I uploaded it, and people were like commenting on it. They were like, "Oh my god, this is like great!" And my favorite part about that was like some comment that was like, he like pasted it like 3 times, and he was just like, "Sorry, I'm on my iPod Touch." I was like, "Oh, the times, those were the times." But it started like I was an inspiration. People were like, they started making like these unconventional launched roller coasters. Someone made like the first launched like lay down coaster. It was like there was a whole way with them. They're like inspired by I'm not gonna say my username. Inspired by my username's like bobsled coaster. I was like 12-year-old me must have been on my high horse. Like but like once I started to gain some traction on that site, I just wanted to play like video games. So I had like I started uploading like roller coasters and like started naming them after like Nintendo characters and like Sonic characters. Like I had like because I think I was just at that time I was obsessed with like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. So I was like, yeah,
that's a fun game to be obsessed
it was
with.
But I had like there's like a whole onslaught. You could have like your own fucking Nintendo Sega park just of all the shit that I uploaded. There's like Mario, like Luigi stuff, and then I also like I found this old forum post. Like I told you, my profile picture is a Eurofighter. I could not tell you which roller coaster this is, but I ended up Googling. I literally Googled like roller coaster on YouTube and just like picked on like the first ones, and that was my profile. It's some like Eurofighter from like some small park in England. I've never seen it before.
I mean, like I do agree with you with the Eurofighters. Like I've always been intrigued by them. I feel like maybe because they are kind of a rarity near us, so I'm like, that looks so weird. Like what is that?
And I also started like posting on like their off-topic forums. And I was like 12 and 13, so like 7th, 8th grade of middle school. And I remember like back in the day, that was like the cool math games era.
Oh god, I love
cool math games. I made a off-topic forum asking. I like had to screenshot it because I made I'll read it. Who here loves coolmathgames.com? What games are you good at? I like Wooden Bridge 2, the Balloons and Parking series, and then there's like 8 indents, and please reply with like 10
Wait, was this on like...
This is on a roller coaster, like, just like where you upload like Roller Coaster Tycoon, like coasters and scenarios.
Did anybody reply?
No. No one ever replied. Except there is a reply on the thread. It's some like random bot from like March 2020 on some thread from like 2009, but that was definitely an error. I was on that site for like 2 or 3 years just like uploading stuff, and that's where I met like, and you can definitely see like on my coasters, like on the coasters that I upload, the people like responding, like commenting on it are like older people, like not like and they're like probably like late teens, early 20s. Like they reply with like actual all sentences, and then my replies are all like thanks with like 20 exclamation points. Yeah, it's like I'm very clearly like 10 years old. Yeah, but yeah, then so that was a phase, and then I kind of like fell off a little bit with the coaster community. Like I went with like my family went to Disneyland a few times and Universal, and I was into it, but I kind of just like I started playing like competitive games, and that really took over all my focus. But I was still like I like subscribed to like Coaster Force on YouTube, so I was still like, if there was, I was just still in the loop. Like I would check out those POVs, but that lasted until like through high school. I would just go to like amusement parks on band trips. Like we went to my band trip. We went to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Yeah,
that's fun.
And we went to Busch Gardens. That's the year that we won. Like we won. We were like the grand champions.
We always lost to Rocky Hill, and I hate that school. I don't know anybody from Rocky Hill, but you all suck, and you all need to get out. We lost to them every year. Our orchestra won like everything out of like, because it was like we took like the choir, band, and orchestra, and our orchestra won like literally everything because our orchestra was great. Our band, we always got first. Like we always were second every.
I remember. Anyway, this was like 8th grade when we won. We went to Busch Gardens. I remember we played a really hard like a song that like middle schoolers should not be playing.
Yeah.
It was like really
That
hard.
was-
And then but we won grand. Like we beat all the high schools. Like we won the grand champion.
That was how
We
when
got
you
a big ass trophy. It's probably still sitting there.
When you would watch like the bands, it was like our school and Rocky Hill would always be playing like the ones that like you're like a middle school can play that, and then it was always like us competing, and it was like
that was like one of my prouder moments.
Anyway, Busch Gardens.
Yeah,
That was Busch Gardens.
Williamsburg. And I rode that was my first time at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. And I remember we rode like Griffin. Like we rode everything that was there. We like Big Bad Wolf.
Right.
All those. Yeah, little did I know it was gonna be its last year of operation. But
yeah, I went the year after. I literally I was like really I literally went.
I was like really. I even bought I still have like a Big Bad Wolf T-shirt from when I went back. Like I went back to Busch Gardens Williamsburg like right after they opened for Bolton, and they were selling like Big Bad Wolf T-shirts, and I still have it. Like I still wear it sometimes because it's like really good material. But
I don't think I've ever bought like a Hawkeye. Oh no, I did.
You did?
I bought a Fury shirt. Oh no, I went.
I just have my Big Bad Wolf one.
And my sister bought me a Volcano shirt because she went after it closed.
I have a couple hoodies. Like... But anyway, we went like it was just like band trips in middle and high school, and then. Like, my neighbors, they would go to the North Carolina to the beach. And they would always stop at Busch Gardens on the way. So I was like, hey, parents, we're going to do that now. And that thus began, and my high school was literally just, like, every vacation that my family took was just, like, convincing my parents to stop at whatever amusement park was on the way. It's like, we go visit my grandmother in Georgia. We stopped at Six Flags over Georgia. We went to the beach. We stopped at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. We went, my dad and I just won. I remember my dad was one day, we just woke up and we were just like, tomorrow we're going to go to Six Flags Great Adventure. And then we went to Six Flags Great Adventure, like, as a day trip. Yeah. And then...
That is, I feel like,
we went
good,
to, like,
spontaneous...
We went to... We did, a family trip that was, like, Niagara Falls, Toronto, and then Montreal. Mm-hmm. So my dad was like, do you want to go to the amusement park? Like, you have to choose. You can only do one. Either La Ronde or Canada's Wonderland. And me, I was just like, Canada's Wonderland is bigger. So, like, let's just do... And that's, like, in Toronto. It's, like, next to Toronto. So we went to Canada's Wonderland. Which,
even if their supporting coasters suck, they still have a better top.
Leviathan is really good.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's a B&M Gaga.
Yeah, but La Ronde is on like I like saw La Ronde. Like La Ronde's like on like I don't remember if it's on like a peninsula or like an island in the middle of like a river in Montreal. It's a cool setting, but I just remember like seeing it from a distance and being like, wow, like I didn't know like how like it had like really shitty coasters. Or whatever. I don't know. I was like 15 at the time. I was just like, roller coasters. Yeah, roller coasters. Like, I guys came off Canada's Wonderland, like, adrenaline rush. And here we are in Montreal for like 2 weeks. We're like, La Ronde, I can see from like my hotel room. But, so that was fun. Like, that was basically high school. Just going on band trips. And then like every vacation we'd go to, just convincing my family to go to like these amusement parks along the way. And then in college, do you remember Yik Yak? Yeah, it was an app.
No.
It was like anonymous.
Wait,
it was like anonymous Twitter. Like I don't know how big it was in like high school, but this was like my freshman year of college.
I vaguely remember Yik Yak.
Back when like Vine and Yik Yak were like the big things. But the Yik Yak on like a college campus was great because it was just like anonymous, literally anonymous Twitter, and you could just there was a lot of people that were using it.
Yes, it had like a day of glory in my school, and then it
was a thing for like a solid year at college. But I just remember, I don't know why I was like I used Yik Yak all the time. I just had a lot of pent up aggression or whatever. Like, but I don't know why. One day I just decided to like whatever send one out that was just like Roller Coaster Tycoon and chill, and it got like a surprising number of upvotes, right? And then someone in the comments was just like, he was like, "Yo, like." Yeah, I'm down for this, right? And I was like, okay, cool, like, we're like, where, like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, like, I love Roller Coaster Tycoon. And then we found out that our dorms were, like, next to each, like, his building and my building were, like, in the same complex, like, right next to each other. And then I remember we met when he gave me a Reese's cup. But we were, like, yeah, we just became, like, we, like, add each other on Steam and, like, Skype and Discord. And just started talking, and he's like my best friend, like one of my best friends to this date. Yeah, he's like and we would like go to like Hershey Park all the time, and like we go to like Hershey and King's Dominion all the time, and like I was just like over his apartment a couple weeks ago, and we were we just like on his computer he had booted up Planet Coaster, and we just like browsed the Steam Workshop for like Six Flags Magic Mountain recreations and stuff. And like I like kind of got him back into like being a coaster enthusiast again.
So he wasn't.
So he was like a super casual. Like he was like he knew his shit. But he was like he kind of like we like both played games a lot together. So we just like games were kind of our thing. We would just go to parks on a whim. But yeah, he like after that he was like I remember he booted up Six Flags Magic Mountain, which was a really good recreation in Planet Coaster on the Steam Workshop. And the first thing he asked is like, "Where's the blue coaster?" From Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's such a!" I was like, "That's such a throwback."
The blue coaster.
The blue coaster, yeah. But that's basically like my story. Yeah.
I mean, it definitely has
it's a roller. It's a roller coaster in itself. Like we've come a long way since pooping my pants like Comet. And now I like them a lot. Like like I remember being like really. The anxiety kind of went away. I kind of got over all my fears at Hershey. Like I got on my like Super Duper Looper was my first looping coaster. Stormrunner was my first launch coaster, and then like I pretty much conquered all my fear of coasters there. And then we went to Cedar Point, and I remember it took like all of my courage to get on Top Thrill Dragster because it was like 100 miles per hour. Like especially after getting off Intimidator, I'm like I don't want to pass out on a roller coaster. Like that's not fun. But then like after we rode that, I was like okay, like I'm good I'm good for anything now. But oh yeah, I forgot like studied abroad in France. I forgot I studied abroad in France. How the fuck did I forget? I never shut up about it. But I studied abroad in France, and that's when I went to like Parc Astérix, and then went back and went to Thorpe Park. So I got those credits. One of these days I'll get like to Alton Towers. I want to go to Alton Towers. So yeah.
It's great.
But Thorpe was fun. Parc Astérix was. We can. That's not the greatest thing in the world. It has a really good B&M invert, but also like the worst Vekoma coaster I think I've ever ridden in my entire life.
What Vekoma? What?
It's called like Goudarix. It's bad. It's bad. Okay. Yeah. It's bad, but. Yeah, those were like I remember just like I was like convincing my friends because where I was in France, I was like in southern France, and Parc Astérix is like up north. So like we gotta go to park. Like I did not come all the way to France to not go to an amusement park. Like I cannot go a semester without going to an amusement park. I need to get on something. And then they're like, oh yeah, sure. It was like one of my friend's birthday, so we just went up to Parc Astérix for that weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And that was good. But now it's just like because my parents like. My dad, like, stopped riding roller coasters after he threw out his back on a Wildcat at Hershey. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And like, that little... Like, I kind of have this guilt because my dad's, like, back is completely fucked because I got him to ride a Wildcat with me. Like, that's the start of, like, all his back pains. It was Wildcat, yeah.
They need to retrack it. Just retrack it. I'm not even asking for RNC.
Yeah.
Y'all just need to put some new...
Yeah, now we're like... I met Brendan, too, so it's like, oh, yeah, now if, like, I have someone to go with. If, like, my sister... Because my sister's, like, just now getting over her fear of roller coasters. And my dad won't get any. So I would just ride them by myself and, like, my friend from school.
Yeah, I hate riding rides by myself.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my big thing... I don't mind riding it by myself, just waiting in line. I feel like it's just, like... I don't want to look like a loner. I don't want to just like stand there awkwardly.
It's not like awkward, but it's just like I don't know. It's not as fun riding it by yourself.
Yeah.
Like I just having someone like next to me.
Yeah.
But
like you're kind of experiencing it together. Like it's like oh we're having a fun time. Like,
yeah. Like
look at us.
like my friend from school. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard like during the summer to like coordinate stuff because we both work a lot.
Yeah.
Like he works like a bajillion hours and I am stuck working a ton of hours too. So it's like and our days off never coincide.
I think that we
have to plan it like a month in advance.
I think it's funny that you brought up like your family because my mom only literally has ridden Trailblazer in the 21st century, and she has not. She can't. She can't. My mom literally she's very bad with spinning, and like I very unpopular opinion. I love spinning wild mouses. Yeah, I love
that one.
I love like tilt-a-whirls and I love like the tornado rides. My mom can't do those. She can't even watch them because she'll like get sick.
Yeah, I can't do like the teacups and stuff. I can't do that.
But my family they have two specific things. My dad and my sister. So my dad, he can't do a lot of flipping sometimes. Okay, this is I don't understand how like what. So he doesn't like launches, so he doesn't do a lot of launching. So when he has ridden Fahrenheit and loves it. Okay, so then when we went to Dorney. We rode Hydra once in the rain, and he liked it. Then we rode it when it wasn't raining, and I guess he could see, and he hated it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the floorless trains, but I'm like, it literally goes upside down like the same amount of times as Fahrenheit. He can ride Fahrenheit in broad daylight, and it's completely fine, but he cannot ride Hydra.
But, like, what? No, I mean, like, Fahrenheit, like, you, like, go up on your back, and, like, that's worse.
I know. And he's completely fine. But, like, when we rode Hydra, and he was like, I'm not okay. And, like, he's afraid to get on inverts. So I ride the inverts alone when I'm with him. But he loves, my dad, he loves wooden roller coasters. So, like, Phoenix is, like, his favorite roller coaster.
That's hilarious because my dad does not ride wooden coasters. He only rides, like, inverts. My dad loves inverts.
My dad, so this last trip with my dad was a time because we were good with like Steel Force. He loved it. It was great. He didn't get on Possessed because it's launched. I got on that alone like 3 times. He didn't ride Talon because it was also late in the day when we rode Talon. And we rode Thunderhawk, which was like that's small. And we rode Hydra like twice or 3 times. And in the rain he was fine. When it didn't rain he wasn't. He loved Phoenix and he rode Twister and that was good. And he rode Impulse. But Impulse at the end has like the really slow 0G roll, and he said that didn't make him feel sick, but it like made him feel weird because like you get dizzy when you do stuff like that.
When it's slow
and then
like I was like, I'm afraid to like, I don't always like become old, but like grow up to where that stuff like starts to affect me a lot.
Yeah,
like, I have to do it a lot while I'm young.
I feel like there are definitely old people who aren't affected. Like
they're definitely not, but that's not going to be me.
Yeah, that's
given I can barely like hold my own shit. Like that's not going to be me. I don't have enough issues as it is.
And then when we went to Kennywood, like me and my dad were fine. Like he liked Jackrabbit, and I didn't make him get on Exterminator because I know that's a spinning wild mouse, and he was not going to have fun with that. And he looked at Steel Curtain was closed, but he looked at it and he was like, you're gonna have to get somebody else to come back and ride that with you. And he probably wouldn't have ridden Skyrocket, but that was closed too. But he liked all the wooden roller coasters, except he didn't like Thunderbolt, which I didn't really like it either. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but like they don't have the seat divider, so you like you get smushed, and it was not a time. It was
I know, like when we went to my dad and I just like impromptu went to Six Flags Great Adventure that one year. Like of all like the coasters that are there, which was like King Ka, like El Toro, Nitro. I think my dad's favorite is still like the Batman clone. Yeah,
I mean they're solid.
Good rides, but my dad just like has this thing for my dad just has this thing for inverts.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like Nitro, I can understand. It's not. I don't think Nitro is like a top tier. So like maybe putting
El
that
Toro
over
like changed.
But no, El Toro, El Toro literally is
good. But like I went to Cedar Point. Like he didn't do Top Thrill Dragster. He rode Magnum. Which is honestly, it could be worse than a wooden roller coaster, depending on where depending on where you sit.
Yes, I need to reride that because I made the mistake of
don't sit on a wheel. You have to sit in the middle row.
Sat in the last row, and I was like,
you have to sit in like the middle row.
When me and my friend went, I'm sorry if this is gonna trigger anybody, but we literally rode it once. Like one of the first time, the first day we rode it once, and we were like, we're not getting back on this, and we didn't get back.
Yeah, I remember my cousin and I just like marathoning it last time I was there. And I have cast iron like thighs by the end of it because we were like the 3rd time in a row where it becomes like painful because those bars are not soft. We were just like, okay, yeah, that's it. We can't do it anymore.
That was like Steel Vengeance marathoning was the time. I was fine, but my friend was like, my thighs hurt, and I was like,
I need to go back to Kennywood like bad because they've added so much stuff since I last went, and I'm like 10 years older now.
Yeah, Kennywood's fun. And then my sister, I have made my sister inadvertently to a coaster enthusiast, where she doesn't really know anything about roller coasters, but like she literally gets angry when she goes with like her friends because I have trained her to be very high energy. So my sister can keep up with me. Like my sister,
my sister can go hard now too.
Yeah, like my sister, like I'm like, because I don't stop. Like I stop, but like I don't like. I'm always ready to go. Like I'm like. I want to at least hit everything once, and I want to go back for re-rides.
I definitely have like an agenda.
Yeah, so my sister said the first time she went with her friends to Hershey Park, like without me, she said like they rode like Sky Rush, and they were like, I need to take like an hour break, like I need like a Advil, and like I need to take a break. And my sister was like, I'm just getting warmed up because she usually goes with me, and I'm like, let's go to Sky Rush, Great Bear, and then go to the back of the park.
We have an agenda, like boom, 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 boom.
And like, so I've inadvertently like numbed my sister to like the GP way of riding rides, but she like doesn't keep up with coasters. So I do appreciate my sister because like she doesn't really have a fear. Like she's pretty much ridden everything. She's ridden like King Ka. She rode El Toro. She's ridden Alpengeist and Griffin, and she loves Griffin, which that is GP.
Yeah,
like that's her like favorite.
That's a pretty GP opinion.
That's her like favorite roller coaster. But and like she's ridden like Apollo Chariot, like Nitro. Like I've taken her to a lot of parks, so yeah, it's my sister's like in a weird position where I made her like ride like me, but she doesn't know anything. So
I kind of feel bad for my sister because like she didn't like roller coasters growing up until like she was in like started like middle school and started getting like on Comet and like Trailblazer and stuff. Like, I kind of feel bad because, like, I just never shut the fuck. Like, little me was, like, I was annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you think I'm annoying now, like, you should just see me when I was 10 because I was, like, I would just keep going about roller coasters.
Oh, that was me.
And you just couldn't stop. Once I started, I still, like, the same way. Like, once you start, I get started, like, I can't stop.
Yeah. Every time I go to a new park, I, like, hype it up. I'm like, I'm so excited to ride this. And do you know this is like this? Yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm like,
I get that, like, I still, like, feel sick the night before sometimes.
I just get anxious. Like, I do have a hard time sleeping because I'm like, I want to go. Like, I want to go so bad.
And then, you know what happens after I get
anxious. But I don't get... that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen. That must be nice. But, yeah, my sister, I remember one year she just said, like, fuck it. And we were at Hershey and she was just like, fuck it. I'm getting on Super Duper Looper. And that resulted in her riding, like, Super Duper Looper, Great Bear, Lightning Racer, Fahrenheit, Stormwater, like, all on the same day.
Okay. I see her.
Yeah, and so
I
now
think I built up slowly to everything there.
Yeah, I was like, well, I basically grew up at Hershey Park.
Yeah,
like
so
I was like every year that I went there, it was like, okay, first I rode Comet, and the next year I was able to ride Super Duper Looper. Like every year that I went, I was able to like add a new. It was like leveling up almost. Like, I was able, and then eventually I like was just.
I feel like I just had phases where like the first time I went, I only rode like the 3, and then I rode like Super Duper Looper, Lightning Racer, Wildcat, and then Great Bear was my biggest, and then the year after that, it was like Storm Runner and Fahrenheit and Sky Rush.
I went through this really weird like water park phase too, where all I wanted to do was just like go to water parks, which I don't understand because I don't like water parks. Like I don't like walking around like being wet, like having like wet clothes or just like standing there with an inner tube on a hot summer day just like dripping water. That's not fun. But just there was like a couple months where I was just like, maybe because it was like right after I had gotten Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Platinum, which had like the zoo and water park expansions, and I was just like, water parks. Like all I would do is just build massive water parks. I think that's kind of what happened, and then after like they're nothing.
I don't mind
it's
water
fine.
Parks, so.
Like I don't.
I mean Hershey's water park's weird because it's like in the same like place, but
I
went to Great Adventures isn't bad, and I like Water Country USA.
Water Country and the Disney water parks are good too.
Oh yeah, I've heard that they're good. Yeah.
But I went through that weird phase, but
I've pretty much always been a roller coaster fan.
Yeah, same.
I feel like I've never been like I never got into like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but I feel like I've always been like I've always researched like I always look up like
really.
I've looked up like where every park's headquarters was at one time.
I didn't go that far. I could name you like all. It's like this was like a hyper twister coaster. I was like everything from Roller Coaster Tycoon. Like Roller Coaster Tycoon is such an like huge part of my childhood that like I can still like. If you just gave me like a scenario name, like I could be able to recall it.
I wanted to design roller coasters for a while, and I have like plans in my head. Like I still have like I'm like I want this to be a roller coaster one day, but like I never wanted to like design in Roller Coaster Tycoon or like in No Limits or something. Like I never had the desire for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
I
found out my mom tried to convince me. I guess maybe it's part of my coaster upbringing, but my mom tried to convince me because, like, for a while it was like, I was always just like when I first got into coasters, it was like I was like I want to be a roller coaster designer, which like and then
we all had that at one point though.
Yeah. Now I found the balance where like because I like editing and like movies and like I like a lot of other stuff too, which I kind of just blocked out of my head for a while. But my mom, Premier Rides is based in Baltimore.
Are they?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So I looked up.
Oh my god, I don't want to like go.
We already
the tour on Premier Rides.
We already know that I'm a Premier Rides whore.
So
Okay.
you went on a tour? Like,
No. She tried to convince me to email to like say that I wanted to do an internship.
That's adorable though.
I think I may have.
We have to dig up that email. If we found my embarrassing forum post from like 12 years ago,
I maybe I'll look it up. I feel like I may have. I think maybe I did it for Intamin, because Intamin's Intamin's, this is getting so off topic, but Intamin's like business headquarters is in Westminster. Or like is it Westminster?
like so
it's in Maryland. So
why
like,
did no one tell me this?
I know
now? Like, what the fuck?
It's not because their main thing is in like where is it? Sweden.
It's
in another country.
In Europe,
it's in Europe, but like their like American part where like they deal with the stuff.
Yeah.
It's in Maryland, along with Premier Rides, which is literally in Baltimore, and we're like literally 10 minutes away from the city.
When are we going on a tour?
I know, like hello.
Yeah.
So I think
when am I getting that back?
I think I did email Intamin.
When are we getting East Coast racers?
Honestly,
and like on my backyard.
Hello, like who are you telling? I literally have like when I was a kid, I imagined a roller coaster going over my house.
Oh yeah,
like,
same. I would have like these fantasies of a kid of just like jobs didn't exist. Everything was just roller coasters, and everyone's job was to be a roller coaster op, and you could just like walk outside your house and like get on a roller coaster, and then there'd just be like roller coasters everywhere. I was like, I want that.
I always
but that would be awful for the
everywhere I go, even like now, sometimes I always think of like roller coasters. Like when I get bored, I kind of just like I'll look outside and I like look at like a really tall tree. I'm like, that could be like a good height for like an Immelman, and then it goes down. And I look at that like.
Yeah, I had like the roller coaster connects and stuff too growing up.
I have one somewhere. I think.
Oh yeah, right there. Yeah. You can't see it, but I can.
Yeah.
Just sitting up on the
shelf. And above that is a sky rail, which is like marble. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I had like the connects ones growing up, and then like my family still gives me shit about it. Like when I was little at dinner, like I would like take my fork and like pretend it was like an inverted coaster. Yeah, and it would just I would just be like going like moving my fork around, like making it go through loops and stuff. And they still give me shit about it. Like my sister especially still gives me shit about it to this day.
Yeah. I feel like my family's just become numb. Like they know I'm gonna like fangirl, so like, but like I feel like you were just talking about like how like, you kind of like got out of it, like when you went to Roller Coaster Tycoon. I feel like I've always kind of just been the same. Like I was never like deep into it where I was like on forums like always looking at stuff. Which I mean I follow like the subreddits, so like I do sometimes comment like you know look at those. But I feel like I've always just been like, I have my list of like YouTubers I watch, and I always like am up to date on like, especially the parks like I'm familiar with, like Hershey, King's Dominion, most like the Six Flags parks, just in case like maybe one time they're gonna be like, hey Six Flags America, here's a new
one of these. I have faith they'll get something soon, right?
Hopefully,
but
they could do so well, they just don't care.
Yeah, like
because like DC and Baltimore like are pretty large.
I don't.
Anyway, that's another video or podcast.
But yeah, like my whole thing with like straying away, I was just like I want to do a lot of research on like coasters. Like I was just fascinated by them in general, especially like a lot of the overseas ones. And that was the time that like Mystery Mine opened up at Dollywood.
I want
so
that looks fun.
So like that was like the first Eurofighter I had ever seen like that, and I was just like, what is this like new model? And that led me to like all these like European parks and stuff, because it wasn't in Roller Coaster Tycoon either. That was basically my knowledge, was like the parks near me, Roller Coaster Tycoon, which had like Alton Towers, Blackpool, and Haida Park, and then Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, they had all the some of the Six Flags. So that was like my knowledge of it. And then I was like, and then like uploading them like onto forums and stuff. Like I was just 12. I just wanted to like talk about video games and roller coasters with someone, but like no one in middle school is into that. Everyone's into like video games, but not like there's like the Nintendo people, but it's all like it was like Call of Duty when I was in middle school. It was like everyone just talked about Call of Duty, and I was like, but roller coasters.
Mine was like,
and that's why I think like all my friends were really into like COD and like Grand Theft Auto and like some Nintendo. So I would just like that was what I was. I kind of like fell out a bit with it.
I don't even know what games. A lot of my friends were into like Smash, like Brawl, and I don't know why, because it was like, I don't know, but yeah, none of my friends really, which I feel like that's why like I never really planned a lot of trips to parks, because like I know my dad wouldn't get on everything with me. My sister was always like either in college or like just older than me, and like I had my one friend Liam, but he went into the army, so like after we went to Cedar Point like in 2018, I didn't really do much.
Yeah.
Like I went on the trip with my dad, but that was like the first trip I ever like really went somewhere. We basically just stuck to like the parks near us. And now like that I'm older and like I can drive, I'm like I'm going with or without anybody.
Yeah.
I want to take a whole like Midwestern trip.
Literally,
I want to go
that's
across
what
like
me and my friend from college were like, one of these years, like maybe not. Good thing it was we didn't plan it this year, but like and like next year, like the year after, we want to hit like the Midwest.
Oh yeah,
and maybe we'll make it out to the East. Like we should just like we need to make this happen. Like all of us just need to have like a joint meeting.
Okay.
Like, I'll introduce you
Okay.
to him, and then we can all just go from there.
I'm so down.
Yes, and then him and I can just have a roller coaster tycoon episode.
Okay.
Just fangirling. Roller coaster.
And I'll just be here like.
So that like that's like roller coaster tycoon and chill. Like that's the whole reason we were friends.
That is fantastic.
It's really dumb, but like it works.
I have no friendships like that. So that's me.
But yeah. Ooh, do you want to hear? Back to the rides breaking down thing. Like
God.
Because I feel like all the rides that it broke down are at Disney World, which I thought my favorite one, like the most memorable one, was Expedition Everest. So like there's like this whole like pre-lift hill thing where you like go through like I don't even know really remember. It's kind of like it's like you're in like like the mountain.
Yeah.
It's like the lift hill, and then you like turn a corner, and then it's like the broken track, and then that's when it shoots you backwards. We get up to the broken track, and we don't go backwards at all, right? Like we don't go back, and then they must have known. I feel like I still don't understand it, but they like must have known that the ride was going to break down because the people in the seats ahead of us were ride ops, and they just like jumped out and like. I don't know what the fuck they did. They just jumped out and like fixed it and then just like sent us. They were like, okay, bye guys. But there was a wasp nest like on the end of the track, so that like we're stuck up there and there's just like wasps flying all around us. Yeah, we were up there. That was a long 10 minutes. It was I still don't understand that, and I feel like what else? Like I've broken down on like the brake run a couple times. I don't think I've been stuck. I don't think I've ever been stuck on a lift. I was on Great Bear once. And, like, we were on the lift, and I, like, clicked back. Like, we started going backwards. Like, it clicked back a couple times. Like, that's always... Every time that I am on Great Bear, like, that always is in my head when we're going up the hill. That, and, I, like, put my bar down and put the seatbelt in. And it was in there, right? And then the guy comes to, like, check my restraint. He pushes down and just, like, pulls the seatbelt right out. Just, like, yanks it right out. And I looked at him, and I was like... He was, like, stuck it back in, and I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna die. But,
God, the seatbelt's just for safety.
Yeah, there's a few, like, I have a couple. Like, when my friend and I, we were at King's Dominion. This was last year, actually. We were at King's Dominion last year, because my mom gets tickets. They rent out the park in September. And we were there for that. And it was like 6 o'clock. It was like 6 o'clock at night. And we were in line. We were going to get re-rides on Twisted Timbers.
Okay.
And it started raining. And it literally rained for like 20 minutes. And like everyone got out of line and we just got on it. But apparently my mom gets an email the next day that's like, hey, like enough people complained about the rain that lasted literally 20 minutes that we're renting out the park again and giving everyone else free passes. Here's the date for it and your tickets. So we went to King's Dominion. We got free tickets back to King's Dominion like 2 weeks later to ride Twisted Timbers some more. But that was when it was like during the Halloween haunts thing.
Okay.
And I'm like we're both like massive pussies when it comes to that. So we were like ducking. We were like, we gotta get to Twisted Timbers. So we're like ducking through like the haunted, like they have like parts of like that midway where there's like scare actors just like running around chasing you. Like you have to go through a scare zone to get to the bathroom, which I would know. But we were just like running through like riding Twisted Timbers at night when there's like fog and like lights and stuff. That cool. It was cool.
I've only ridden Twisted Timbers once.
Yeah.
You made me remember. I feel like I've broken a couple rides because when the first time I rode Twisted Timbers, it broke right after I got on it. When I rode, I feel like I've ridden a bunch of rides where like as soon as I get off, I'm like, it broke. I think this is not a definite answer, okay? But I went to King's Dominion in 2018 when Volcano broke. I'm pretty sure I was there on the last day it ran.
Oh god.
And I was about to be like the last. Like I remember.
You almost had the last ride on.
Yeah, because like I remember that we got in the seats and like they locked us and then like it wouldn't go out of the station and then they had to like unlock the restraints and we got off and then they were like it was closed and it didn't run for the rest of the day and I I don't think I'm pretty sure that was like gonna be the last. So I'm pretty sure I rode it the last day it was thing, and I almost had the last ride, but I miss Volcano so much. But
Volcano, I do miss Volcano. I rode.
That's it.
I still have more stories. Like
I've only ever gotten stuck.
Really?
Either I think I've gotten in probably a few and then had to get out because it was broken, and I've gotten like kind of just stalled on the brake run where like the one in the station was kind of like broken. But I've myself never been on like one that like has broken.
I got stuck on the brake run at Mantis back before it was Rougarou at Cedar Point. I got stuck on the brake run because like someone in the car ahead of us threw up and they had to clean out the car. And that was like of all the rides to get stuck on, it's Mantis because you're just standing up with like a bicycle seat up against your balls, and I'm just like it's not comfortable standing there for like 20 minutes just like locked there like sitting on a bicycle seat while they're cleaning puke out of the car ahead of you. But like I got stuck on the
puke on
I got stuck on the Toy Story ride at the Hollywood Studios at Disney, the one where it's like where it's like the Midway Mayhem, where it's like the 3D one where you're like shooting targets and stuff. There's one part where you're like like you go around and it's like a garden scene, and we got stopped there for it was like 30 minutes, but the ride kept like point. My dad and I both, we had the top two high scores of the day, and we won free flash passes because of that to ride it again.
Okay.
Yeah, and but there's like a watering can thing, and when you shoot the watering can, it sprays water at the person next to you, and my dad just kept shooting it. I think I'm the only person to walk out of that ride soaking wet because all he did was shoot the watering can. I just kept getting sprayed.
That's so funny. Oh my god.
I'm the only person. I honestly think they gave us a flash pass out of pity because we had the high score, and I was also like dripping wet from my dad spraying me with water the whole
that is
every time I come back I've
never had
like really. And I think the best moment on a roller coaster that I had was me and my friend. We went to Hershey Park. Was it my 21st birthday? I think it was my 21st birthday because we were waiting because you can get beer at Hershey if you didn't. Like there's a couple places at Hershey where you can get beer.
I knew that.
Yeah. So like I got a beer because I was 21 and cool, and the lady wished me happy birthday. But we were waiting for it to be nighttime, and it was finally nighttime, and we got on Great Bear at night because you can't see shit on that ride at nighttime. Plus, it's a really pretty night ride.
It's a good night ride.
There was like nobody in the park. It was like 15 minutes before it closed, and it was just him and I in like the front two seats, in the middle front two seats, and just no one behind us. And they just let us go like 4 times. We had the whole train to ourselves, like a night ride on Great Bear. Like that's never going to happen again. I don't think.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. What else? But yeah, I feel like basically this is just my story is like I just turned into like begging my parents to stop at like amusement parks. I remember we went to Minnesota once, and we stopped at like the park in the Mall of America, that Nickelodeon universe.
Yeah. My parents were just like, I guess, creatures of habit. We never go anywhere new.
Really?
Yeah, like since I've been alive, we've only ever gone to like the farthest we've gone is North Carolina. I've never been.
Really? The farthest I've been is like Texas, because my mom's side of the family is all like, we're all like within like 20 minutes of each other here, and then my dad's side, we're like all over it's like all over up and down the East Coast, and like the farthest west is Minneapolis. Yeah. So we would just go visit them. It was like my cousin's wedding, so we went for her wedding, and then I was like, hey family, I literally convinced my dad is like one of 8. I convinced all of them to go to the Mall of America, to the amusement park there. When I was like,
how did you do that?
I was like 14.
How did you?
I don't know. That was a fun day. That SpongeBob roller coaster. That was my first Eurofighter. I was so excited because the SpongeBob roller coaster is
rock bottom
plunge is a Eurofighter, and I was over the moon that I finally got to ride a Eurofighter.
Look at you.
And I still like I still like don't know why I like them so much. I just think I don't know if it's because the models, they're just like so compact, looking like the Saw ride at Thorpe is. Oh, that's a weird one, but it's a Eurofighter. And it's cool. It was cool.
Yeah.
And there's a jump scare in the queue. But that's for another video. Another podcast.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever... Yeah. There was, when I did go to Dorney, they were running 2 trains on Steel Force. Okay. And when we went back to it, we were like, they were only loading 1. And we were like, why? So there was... I don't know who the fuck this guy was, okay? I really don't. I don't know. I don't know if he was like from the park and like had to test all the rides. I don't know, but he rode it and he threw up in the seat. And he was like a ride. He was like supposed to ride. Like he was like making sure the crew was doing what they were like. He was like giving them a test. I don't know, but he was standing on the loading side and like talking to all the people. And he was like, make sure you guys clean it up. He was like, I want you guys to like run it only like 2 more times, and then I want you guys to start getting people on it. And like me and my dad were like, what the fuck? We were like, did he get sick? Like who is this? Like why? Like if you know you'll get sick on rides, why did you sign up for that position? Yeah. Like there are other positions.
Why would you ride it? Yeah. Like why are you gonna ride it if you think you're gonna get sick? I don't know.
But I didn't get stuck. Like they didn't like stop it. Like they literally were just running the one train empty for a minute. So I mean that
yeah, there have been a couple times where like I rode Sidewinder at Hershey Park with my cousin, and we got on the ride, and it was still early in the day. Like my seat was wet, but the water park was not open.
Oh god.
Yeah. Like there's so many of those. I'm trying to think like.
It's only ever been Lightning Racer for me.
It's all my like breakdown stories are at Disney. I feel like. But like I've broken down on Splash Mountain before. The Haunted Mansion, my sister and I were in a car. My parents like the one behind us, and we got stuck on the Haunted Mansion in front of like where the guy pops out of the grave. My sister and I were facing the grave, and the thing just kept popping out at us, and we were like terrified. Like we were like hugging each other because it kept just jump. We didn't know when it was going to jump out. So, yeah. And it would be like jump out and be like whoa, like, and I'd be like, it was scary. I broke down on Tower. Like, if you want to break down, if you want to get some good ride breakdown stories, just like go to Disney. I broke down on Tower of Terror.
I've thought I've broken down on the King's Dominion drop tower.
Yeah, they hold it up there for a while.
Sometimes. We were like, I mean, it was longer than usual, but it didn't really like break. Like we were only up there for like 5 minutes, maybe.
What? Ooh.
And then like, but it dropped, and we were like, okay,
yeah,
we didn't get stuck.
We were the last time I went to Hershey. Like 2 times ago when I went to Cedar Point when I was like 16, I was like ooh, Top Thrill Dragster, like I'm going to ride this ride, right? And we got there early. We went to the park like at closing, and it had just finished thunderstorming. Like I rode the that like pendulum, I forget what it is. It's like right between Raptor and Gatekeeper.
Oh, Delirium.
Delirium, yeah.
Yeah.
I rode that in like a lightning storm. I don't know why it was open. It was the only.
I told you about when we went to Great Adventure the last time. My friends and I went to Great Adventure, and the whole day I'm hyping up the roller coasters. I'm like, I want to ride a fucking roller coaster, but they all wanted to go to the water park. I was like, okay, fine. So we went to the water park, and it was literally like 6 or something, and I was like, I want to get on a roller coaster. So I booked it to El Toro, and I made them ride it like 3 times. I rode it the back twice, and the front once. It was amazing. And then we saw like a thunderstorm coming in, and we went to Nitro, and like it literally started, like we could visibly see the lightning, and it was like literally right over the end of Nitro, and they let us like marathon it, but the ride ops were like, they didn't tell us to shut it down. They were like, so I guess we're going. So we asked it every time we come back to the station. We're like, are we supposed to get off? They were like, they didn't say anything. So literally, like Batman the ride closed. Like everything was closed, and they are still sending Nitro. That's hilarious. Like one of the tallest rides. It was literally like that was fun. That
sounds fun.
Although it was scary. I was like, I don't want to get struck by lightning.
Yeah, that was like
because Nitro kind of goes out to like
it goes in the middle of nowhere.
And I was like, we're gonna get struck by.
That's great. Yeah. But yeah, I wrote a Delirium thing. In the middle of a thunderstorm. And that's when I rode Disaster Trans. The one and only time I've ridden Disaster Trans. But I thought I was going to throw up on that ride.
I didn't ride.
Yeah, it was such like a disorienting ride. But that was back before Gatekeeper. That was like right before they added Gatekeeper. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I remember. So we were gonna ride that, and then we were walking by Top Thrill Dragster, and I was still like scared. I was like 100 miles per hour. Like that's pretty fast, right? I did not want to pass out on a roller coaster, even though it's not like that intense. It's not really like bad. But I remember just watching them shoot the first train down, like full of people, and it just has this big rooster tail of water just spewing up behind it, and it like barely gets up and rolls back. And I didn't know that they have like special mechanisms for roller. I was like, they're gonna die. I'm about to watch a roller coaster crash like between my eyes. I remember just like sort of like I was like freaking out. I was like, I can't get on Top Thrill Dragster right now. I can't die. Like, I don't want to die. And then like they finally stopped, and that was just like the biggest sigh of relief. But yeah, that I rode on it the next day, but it was still like terrifying. I was like, I never knew that there was gonna be rollback, and now I'm like hoping for rollbacks.
Oh yeah, I want to get a rollback.
Even like, apparently like Stormrunner rolls back sometimes.
I've never
apparently I've seen there's videos on YouTube of them like rollback testing it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I've seen
it's
like
bizarre because it's not like a
I've seen the signs and everything.
Yeah, it's not like a insanely tall ride or anything.
Like I'm proud of Intamin for Stormrunner because that's like it's honestly a really reliable hydraulic launch. I'm like, okay.
I just have never like the thought of it rolling back is like never. The amount of times that the amount of times I've been at Hershey Park, and like seen Stormrunner just like go because we always eat lunch in that like that little eatery that's like literally right on the launch track, and I've never seen it never seen it come close to a rollback.
That would be fun.
Yeah, but
it must have a big fluke because you fly over that top.
Oh yeah, like, there's videos on YouTube of them rollback testing it. It's weird.
Yeah, but that's weird.
Yeah, now I'm like hoping for rollbacks, but yeah, that was like my last of my anxieties when it comes to roller coasters was Top Thrill Dragster. And now I'm like I want to get like, and after Top Thrill Dragster I rode like King Dakar, done that, been there, done that. Like, I'm like, I gotta get on, like, Doda Dompa. Yes, like, I rode Stealth at Thorpe Park. That's a fast launch. Yeah. It's only, like, 78 miles per hour, but it's, like, a fast acceleration. Like, I need to, like, accelerator, like, Doda Dompa. Like, I need to get on all these big boys. Max Force. Heck yeah. I need to get on these. I need to get that. Apparently, like, Doda Dompa is one of those rides that, like, still scares enthusiasts. Like, it feels like you're just, like, getting hit by a bus or something. Like, I need to experience that at least once in my life. But...
yeah, I feel like Skyrush was my last, like, enthusiast. I feel like the only thing is I still get kind of anxious for launches.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, that's, like, the only thing. Because, like, sometimes just, like, the force of it just, like, shocks me. Like, I'm like, oh, God.
I'm, like, always torn on stuff, like, because on Stormrunner, too, and, like, Top Thrill Dragster, it, like, tells you when you're gonna go. Like, it gives, like, a countdown, so you have a minute to, like, breathe before you... But King Dakar, like, doesn't do that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm, like, I don't know if I like, part of me really likes it when I like, get a warning before I'm gonna go, but, like, part of me also just like, it's just, I don't like knowing. I don't know. It's weird.
I like it. I just like getting pulled along. Like, Flight of Fear, just, like, into the darkness, it's, like...
Yeah, Flight of Fear, I love that ride. It's, like, the perfect marathon roller coaster in the front row. You can't ride it any other row because it's painful.
It's not worth it. Like, it's
Flight of Fear in the front row is good.
Yeah. It's fun to just like look at the track, just go up. And it's just like nothing else.
Yeah. That and the backlot stunt coaster too. Like those are powerful little fuckers.
Yeah. That first helix, I was like, wait, what? I was like, I'm getting stuck in my seat. I'm just like,
I'm frowning out. Like, what? I'm just Intimidator Junior over here. Literally. But yeah, like we can do a whole thing on like launch coasters.
Oh yeah, we could.
I feel like for the next one, we should do like bucket list coasters, or like bucket list coasters and parks, so we can get our priorities straight.
Yes.
But yeah, I have nothing more to add.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. That was our introduction. That was us. Our roller coaster.
Yeah. We went back a long time. A long
Yours
time.
was great.
It's not. It's all right.
It was great.
Yeah. Well. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you for listening.
Oh my God.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. And we will see you on the next one, hopefully.
Yes.